Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. Hope you are able to hear me. Let me display the PowerPoint presentation. Asian session live market analysis on May 16th between 5 and 5:30 GMT. So we will track the market using the live market code page. I have given the link for the same, and I also focus the camera over that of the live market code page. Now currently Euro is trading around 1.4088, 1.4090, 1.4049 happen to be the low. Below that of the psychological level 1.4050 and the high is 1.4106 and 30 pips negative net change is seen. And in the case of GBP, we come across 8 pips negative net change. It is trading around 61.84, 61.80, 61.84. 61.69, 68 is the low, 62.16 is the high, about 12 pips negative net change is seen. And in the case of yen, 80.92, 80.95 are the current levels, 80.64 is the low, 81.05 is the high, 16 pips positive net change. We come across subdued moves and they are all making the USD gaining move to start with. And in the case of CHF, you find 89.23, 89.26 are the current levels, 89.18 is the low, 89.40 is the high, 2 pips negative net change is seen. When Euro is showing 33 pips negative net change, CHF is showing 2 pips negative net change, which is a contrarian move in order to dip Euro CHF, and it is currently trading around 1.2567, 1.2570, 1.2558 is the low, 1.2587 is the high, 31 pips negative net change is seen. And similarly, when Euro is showing more negative net change when compared to that of GBP, you find Euro GBP has also made the dip of about 10 pips, trading above that of the psychological level 0.87. We made the brief downward stop and below that of 87. And 86.82 has become the low, 87.13 is the high. This is how on either side of the psychological levels, they try to swing and try to build the position later on. They show their intentions. Then in the case of the commodity pairs, Canadian dollar is trading around 0.9700, 0.9704, 0.9689 is the low, 0.9713 is the high, 15 pips positive net change is seen. And Australian dollar trading around 1.0541, 1.0544, 1.0527 is the low, 1.0580 is the high, 29 pips negative net change is seen. In all excepting Swiss franc, they are all showing that USD gaining move to start with. And you find the subdued moves have happened. And during the start of the session, they made the downward stop in the case of Euro, and then they gained and made an upward stop and making the dip now. So it is a wide range swing in a range of 40-50 pips. They are trying to do it, and they are expected to make a small dip around 5:30 GMT, and then subsequently firm up. Let us see what are the expected market moves for today. So during Japanese session, swing and firm up move are expected. And during the European session, the high level swing and a small slide could happen. And US session, swing and rise moves are expected. So there will be a weak beginning false move, and that could happen during that of the US session. So today is 16th, so they are expected to gain the levels, but not much of a downside is expected in the market. The way in which they are handling the majors indicate that the downside is much limited, and they are just induced all the bearish feel in the case of Euro and GBP, and most of the long holders have liquidated their long positions. So obviously the other way trap has to happen. For that they will try to do a lower level swing with a downward stop and then continue the rise after buying against that of their sells. So you could come across the turnaround during next week. Before that, they will try to gain levels today, and tomorrow they could make a downward move. And again Wednesday, they could make a flat move on the sideways. On Thursday, they are expected to gain the levels, and Friday also they could gain the levels in this particular week. So you will not come across much of a downside. So either way trading opportunities will prevail in the market. And you know that you have the monthly limitations, and they have just come closer to that of the monthly limitations with regard to this particular month. In the case of Euro, about 900 to 1100 pips, and in the case of GBP, they are expected to do about 1600 pips, but this time around, they wanted to drop Euro GBP. As a result, GBP may not drop big, and they could gain the levels to change the market sentiment in the case of GBP. And USD Yen and USD CHF, they are expected to gain the levels more in this particular week, along with that of USD CAD. So you could come across the sideways moves in the case of the numerator currencies, and good gaining moves in the case of the denominator currencies. So that could be the possibility, or that could be the type of moves we could see in this particular week and next week. And then after gaining the levels in the case of the denominator currencies, they are expected to gain the levels again in the case of numerator currencies nominally by next month. So this is what my forecast algorithm says. So obviously you will not come across big drop like what we have seen last week. So you can do either way trading. Near that of the low you can buy and book profit during the rise, or near that of the high you can sell whenever they make an upward stop, and you can sell and try to book profit during the drop. So either way trading opportunities will prevail in the market in this particular week. Not big moves are expected to happen like 300 to 400 pips. One-sided gain may not happen in the case of numerator currencies. Denominator currencies, during the dip one can buy and try to keep stop at entry, and once the position makes profit, you trail the stop and try to earn from those currencies. With regard to the initial lows and the highs, Euro formed the initial low of 1.4049. The high was 1.4098 initially, and subsequently they formed the new high 1.4106. So they breached the high. Then in the case of GBP, 1.6168 was the low, and currently they are trading closer to that, and 1.6216 is the high, which is not breached. So even though you come across less net change in the case of GBP, they are not breached the high, whereas in the case of Euro, they breached the high. So they wanted to gain the levels first in the case of Euro, and followed by that GBP is expected to gain more levels. So this is a question of only gaining about 150 to 200 pips and then downward move and then upward move. That sort of swings could happen in the market. So you can really capture it by doing either way trades. Then in the case of CHF, 89.21, they breached and formed 89.18 as a new low, similar to that of Euro breaching the high. They breached the low in the case of CHF. But they have come back above that of 89.21 and currently trading around 89.26, 89.29. So it indicates that they have done a brief downward stop, and they could, now they are doing a downward move, and slowly they have gained the level in the case of CHF. They could gain more the levels in the case of CHF holding Euro. Then in the case of Yen, 80.64 is the low, which is not breached. 81.05 is also not breached. Australian dollar 1.0527 and 1.0580, they are not being breached. And Canadian dollar 96.89 and 97.13, they are not breached. So only in the case of Euro and CHF, they breached the high and the lows, so which indicates that they are expected to make only the currency specific moves today, and mostly they could handle the crosses as well. And with regard to Yen, last week when all other currencies were doing the USD gaining move, Yen was not participating, and this time around Yen is expected to gain significantly the levels to change the market perception. So trade with care, and it is going to be either way trading opportunities in the market. So not big drop and not aiming new lows in Euro, not aiming new lows in GBP, etc. There might be downward stop and during that particular process, about 50 to 100 pips downward move could happen, or breach the psychological level 1.40, or breach the psychological level 1.61. That sort of moves could happen, and they are all buy opportunities. Let me minimize the PowerPoint presentation and take up the questions which are asked here. I'll meanwhile focus the camera over that of the live market code page, and we will track the market. Okay. Devangan has got a question. Then the reversal has happened or happening in euro, I mean next month. Can it go further down? Now, as I explained that they have done the drop in the case of euro and GBP quickly in a matter of 2 weeks, and then subsequently they are expected to make the sideways move in this particular week, and next week there could be some little more downward stopping, frequent downward stopping, and probably in one or two currencies extended downward stopping and then reverse. So the time is a factor. So when the time elapses, then probably you will come across the other way move in the market. So further downward move is much limited, probably about 100 to 200 pips might happen maximum. Then don't think that they will go in for a deep corrections. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. Then RAM, what will happen to Australian dollar? Australian dollar has come to 1.05. They may take it to 1.04 or 1.03 intraday and try to recover and probably hover around on either way around 1.04 or 1.05 area. Then Heman, is it good to buy Swiss franc now? Yes. Then Ram, trend reversal for the month of June, you mean? Yeah, by end of May and June, you will come across the trend reversal. They will try to make volatile moves during that particular time frame, and you come across, that May ending and June beginning fall in 1 week. So as a result, you will come across more volatile move, uncertain moves will happen in the market, which may create bearish and bullish feel alternatively. And finally, they are expected to gain the levels in the case of euro and GBP in the month of June. Then Eric. So it is still best to stick with trading euro and GBP for 30 pips profit either way instead of trading. Yeah, that will be more safer. Trading in euro and GBP will relatively very safe, and there are many traders who trade without a stop and things like that. And for them, if they wait for about 1 or 2 days, they will be able to see profit because of the volatility. And in the case of the denominator currencies, you could suddenly come across the one-sided moves after some volatile moves. So if you fail to book profit, then you may come across the position making loss, etc. for a considerable time frame. Then you lose patience. So small traders focus only on euro and GBP. It is my humble advice. Then DT. Where do you see euro once get completed near end of Q2? So they may take euro just below that of the psychological level, 1.40 briefly intraday, and they are expected to hover around and take up further up. And if you think because of the fundamentals the euro has dropped, you will become surprised. The same fundamentals might prevail, but euro might rise. There are so many occasions it has been proved that way. So you know about the Greece crisis, Irish crisis, etc. So it is yet another talk that fundamentals play in the market and things like that. But the players wanted to create the market sentiment and act against the traders. That is a way to earn money from the other market. Then TY, how big the range should be expected this week. This week range will be in about 200 to 300 pips. Then Jason, is Euro CHF going up today? Yeah, there is a likely chance because they are making a downward move in the case of Euro and also in the case of CHF. Initially, that means the opposite they intend to make during the course of the day. So you come across a contrarian move there. Then DT. I mean, do you believe Euro will be up near 1.70 after the quarantine easing by Fed please? No, I don't think so. No, you are imagining something big and later on you lose in the trade. What is the use of imagining that it will go to 1.70? Currently you have to trade. And many of the small traders still, they are not able to understand what is real. And they go with the assumptions and they hold their loss-making positions and things like that. And so don't talk about the big pictures. And the big pictures might be okay if you are doing currency conversion trades. But if you are a small trader using a lesser equity, then don't focus more on the long-term projections. The long-term projections will be either way. Somebody can say that Euro can go to 1.75 and someone can say that it can go to 1.25. Every year you come across a similar situation. Keeping that in mind, if you try to trade, only the fear is going to grip you. And so if you want to do a fearless trade, then perceive what is happening in the market and try to take positions accordingly and try to keep stop at entry and try to earn. Trading is different from that of giving the projections of the market. You have to differentiate it. Then Arun, do you agree with that? Whenever there is a trend reversal, players start making the contrarian move, like what they have done in the case of Euro USD and USD CHF. When Euro made the upward move, they did not drop USD CHF. The move was rising Euro and holding USD CHF and rising briefly USD CHF. And later Euro dropped in a big way. So another indication to find trend reversal is contrarian move when higher level, when the higher high and the lower lows were seen in numerator and denominator currencies. Yeah, you are talking about the contrarian moves, but that is not the only indications with regard to the trend reversals. And see, trend reversals can be perceived with regard to various type of analysis. One is trying to find out the supports and the resistance and the divergence, etc. And similarly, formation of the higher lows and the higher highs in the channel formation, etc. But I don't give much importance to those things because the players try to deceive the traders by doing such things. So that is why I focus more on the time frame. You can also use your own methodology. I am not restricting it. My methodology is focusing on the time frame. Then M drive. If you see contrarian move, opposite move will happen in the next session. Yeah. See, initially when they make the contrarian move, and we have to find out why they are doing it. No, first of all, the contrarian move is a double-edged effect, so that they drop Euro and drop CHF. As a result, you will come across a downward stopping happening in the case of Euro CHF. So once they finish the downward stopping, you will be able to understand that Euro stop cutting the low, then CHF stop cutting the low, and also Euro CHF stop cutting the low during a mid-session, during Japanese session, mid-Japanese session or mid-European session. Once they've done it, then you know that there will be a very clear indication of an upward move. Because they take a longer time to do this, handling the crosses. So it's a weak beginning. So most of the people, those who have taken the position last week, would have squared up the position. Only some will be holding it. especially the big players or the big traders. And so only small traders, sporadically, they might be holding positions without a stop, etc. But the big traders always trade with a stop. So they would have earned, the players would have earned from such big traders. So obviously this time around, the first day of the new week, they will expect the traders to commit positions based on the fundamentals, based on the technicals or various other gut feels or whatever it is. Then afterwards they will go in for the trapping. So just like that, if they do the trapping, nobody will be there to lose money. So obviously they have to induce the traders to commit positions. And probably they may give some profit also so that they will overcommit. Then they will make a different move. Then Jan Poco, what is your estimation of Euro GBP for this week? Euro GBP is expected to drop further down and we could come across it as reaching 84 area to start with. And still I am not ruling out the drop to that of the 82 area. And in the long run I am expecting them to take it to 78. But it may not happen immediately. Don't think immediately that it will go to 0.78 and then start holding a loss making position. Try to participate in the market and try to keep stop at entry in case if you want to do a position trade. So that once the position is closed, you'll have a better higher level to enter into the market. And simply holding a loss making position, you don't get any glory out of that. It is not your mental strength. It does not display your mental strength, simply holding a loss making position. So no more questions. So let me go back to that other PowerPoint presentation. Okay, there is one more. Do you see further lows in silver? As in the case of Euro and GBP, I am expecting the commodities also to consolidate, gold to consolidate around 1500 to 1480 and silver around 35 to 33 area and make a little bit of downward sharpen and then start gaining the levels. Don't become too much bearish. Just because they are showing below that of the Friday close, they are not made any big drop like offloading of the positions like during the Japanese session itself about 60 to 70 pips downward movement, etc. They made that quick downward sharpen and recovered from there. So the sellings, the players are willing to buy, and you know that in order to accumulate buy, they try to drop the market and buy, drop the market and buy. That is a strategy, you know that very well. In that process, they may drop about 150 to 300 pips. It depends upon the currencies. And then afterwards, once they accumulate, they will stop doing the downward stopping and go upward. So this time around, you would have noticed that from that of the higher level, when they are dropped, they have not done the extended upward stopping. So there is a likely chance that they may not do the downward stopping and straight rise the market. So it is nothing but the wide range swings they are trying to do in the market. A bigger range of about 600 to 700 pip swings, they are trying to do it without extended upward stopping or downward stopping. So if they do like that, you have to be very careful. So why you have to be very careful? Because after doing this sort of moves, finally they may make a very extended downward stopping and make a very big rise from there. That chance is expected to happen in the month of August. So till such time, you can trade freely and you can probably do either way trades. And towards close of the year, you will come across in the last quarter or so, you could come across big moves happening in the Euro and GBP. And also the denominator currencies may not reach back to the earlier lows. they are expected to gain considerably and come to that of the normal levels what you have seen last year. So with regard to the forecast for today, Japanese session swing and firm up moves are expected, and European session a swing at the higher level and then slide towards close for the expected move. Then again swing and rise moves are expected during that of the US session. So it could be a weak beginning false move or either way moves, and during US session they are expected to rise. And tomorrow during Japanese session they are expected to open again low and start making a downward move and then start rising from that of the European session. So you will come across either way moves in the market. So the best strategy will be whenever they make a downward stop or when they stop cutting the low for more than 30 minutes to 2 hours, try to take a buy. When they similarly gain the levels and stop cutting the high for 30 minutes to 2 hours, try to book profit and turn short. You'll be able to do either way trades. So with regard to the initial lows and the highs, Euro only breached the high and formed a new high, 1.4106, and 1.4098 was the initial high. And GBP they not breached, CHF they breached the low by about 3 pips, and then again they gained the level back. It is a clear stop on the upside in the case of Euro, downside in the case of GBP. They are expected to make either way moves. It indicates very clearly that. Then yen, they are not breached the higher the low, and Australian dollar, they are not breached the higher the low. So dips are buy opportunities today. Then Canadian dollar, they are not breached the higher the low. So finally, if you look into that of the net change, you find that USD and USD CHF and Canadian dollar showing the positive net change. Euro, GBP and Australian dollar showing negative net change as a typical USD gaining move after the limited contrarian move. And now around 5:30 to 6:30 GMT, they could come closer to the low in the case of Euro and GBP. In the case of GBP, they might make a brief downward stop in order to create the sentiment and then gain the levels during the European session. So try to participate either way in the market, and they are not expected to make one-sided downward moves in this particular week. So keep that in mind and try to take freely without any uncertainty. So I take this opportunity to thank FX Street and also you people who have come here to listen to my Asian Session Live Market Analysis webinar, and I'll post the expected market moves in the blog and also try to give the update in case if there is a deviation from that of the expected market moves during the day. And you can ask questions pertaining to any currencies, then I am willing to answer to those currencies. Explain what could be the possible moves in those currencies. So thank you one and all. See you tomorrow again during yet another Asian Session Live Market Analysis webinar. Thank you.